It's Monday morning, it's 9:25. Boys have been up since just after 5. They've got, well, George has got his first appointment at the dentist today, not that he knows it. Adam's had a very stressful morning. Both the boys just, how would you describe it?
Testing. To be fair, that's the hardest morning I've had with them for ages.
And we've still got 2 weeks left of the summer holidays.
Matthew suddenly, I don't know, got this problem with his ears, touching his ears. And his ear defenders on constantly. We have no reason to know why. There's nothing in his ear. Not ill.
Only a little bit.
Where are we going, Matthew?
To the dentist.
And we forgot his ear defenders, which probably won't help.
But his thing is, when he's been wearing the ear defenders, he's been even worse.
Yeah.
Like touching his ear and pushing the ear defender on him. So I didn't. At first, I thought maybe something was inside the ear defender, but like a fly or something.
And
There was nothing in there.
there wasn't something on my ear.
No, there's nothing in your ear.
Right, so I'll try and get a little bit of footage in the dentist. I know that's going to be hard because of how George is not going to cope with it, but I'll try and get some footage.
8, 9, 10. You've got 10 teeth on the top.
Look,
Chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop. We can start. We can stamp on our feet.
Yeah.
We can stamp in the water. But it's okay. But it's only.
careful. Did you nearly fall over?
Yeah.
Just go careful. Oh, the water looks a bit deeper there than last time, doesn't it? Slowly. I nearly slipped myself. Right, wait.
Right, so we finished at the dentist. Matthew was the only one that got a check-up because George was having a full-on meltdown. So in the end they said that they'd refer him to a specialist dentist because I think they quickly realised that there was no chance they were going to be able to get anywhere near his mouth. He wanted to go up the stairs, but obviously he couldn't because
That's why the meltdown started, though, wasn't it?
there were the patients and stuff. So Matthew did well. Matthew had his checkup, so he dealt with that fine. Can you hold that one? So Matthew had his checkup fine, and then we had to rearrange Adam's appointment because there was no way that Adam would have been able to have his checkup whilst George was behaving the way he was. So we've rearranged Adam's appointment and George is going to be referred to a specialist. So then we've just brought them out to Magpie Bridge, and we're not the best prepared because we didn't bring our wet shoes, shorts or a towel. So this should be interesting. What have you got to add?
We already feared that George wouldn't cope with the dentist, but we've had to go through the process because to get him referred, is it?
Yeah.
Referred to the specialist, the only way is for them to see what he's like. It wasn't even the dentist that he was kicking off about, it was the fact that he wanted to go upstairs. There was like 3 floors and he wanted to go upstairs. That's what he couldn't deal with. And once he'd already had a meltdown in the waiting room, by the time he got him in there was just no chance. So she pretty quickly said, you should be referred, so in the end it's been a good outcome. We've got
It's difficult though, isn't it? Because the reason we were on the waiting list for 5 years, and the reason we were accepted into that dentist was because they have experience with autistic children. And I said to Adam after we left, they've got experience with autistic children in regards to autistic children like Matthew, but
higher functioning.
yeah, and there's no criticising them because they even handled George really well, but you know, there's obviously got to be a cut off of what people like dentists and stuff can handle in regards to autism and child not being able to understand or communicate or cooperate or anything like that. So I mean, they cope really well with Matthew, they're really good with him.
So at the end of the day, we've had one done, his appointment for another 6 months, and then George will be referred to a specialist. They just didn't seem comfortable with. I would have been happy to physically hold him, and then to just have a quick look in his mouth, but she really wasn't comfortable doing it, and I think she's just not used to someone with as many needs as George coping with it, so, which is fair enough. It's not easier, especially in a professional sense. Hello, George. Hello.
No.
What does he want?
I don't know. It's not a social butterfly today.
Oh no, I thought you said no, you were trying to stop him from doing something.
They've been really hard today.
Really hard. Today's been the hardest I've had at home in the morning with them. It's supposed to be me to get up early, and I didn't last very long before she was awake and downstairs as well. But that's just what it's like sometimes, and we just have to careful of George. We just have to try to do the best we can. But it's a nice day now, look. I don't know if you can see how nice a day it is. You can see the sun.
And obviously now we've got issues with Matthew. He's constantly paranoid that he's got spiders in his ears. So he's wearing his ear defenders and he's constantly like this, like he's getting really scared and stuff. And now he's saying that he's scared of the dark. So we've got these issues when he goes to bed. And I think it's safe to say that Adam and I have been stress eating quite a lot lately, so it's time for us to go on a diet.
I weighed myself yesterday, and I think I was 230 pounds. Amy's around the same. I don't know exactly what she is.
I'm
but
a stone heavier than
we're both too heavy, which is not a big deal, but we need to cut back a bit.
It's hard though, isn't it? You know, when you just do something quick and easy, and then before you know it, we've turned into Wayne and Waynetta and Harry Enfield. So
anyway, we're going to let them have a bit of fun here for a bit whilst the sun's out. It did rain just as we got here, but they're happy enough. George, come this way. You're going to fall in up there. So we'll see what he's doing. This way. Careful, you're going to fall. Put near the edge, look. Come on then, this way. George, where Matthew is. Where Matthew is, look, down there. Come on. Come this way. Come on, this way. This way. Go this way. This way. This way. Come on. Quick, this way. This way, George. George, this way. Is it cold, Ma? Not cold?
But it's a
Little bit cold. Alright.
How many George ones?
Hopefully he doesn't throw that. Don't know if you can see from there, he's got a Iggle Piggle in his hand. If he throws that in, he ain't getting it back. It's nice to see them together though. Yeah. George, look at Matthew. See if George can go on with you. On that one, George? Let him come on with you. Hold his hand. Let him hold your hand. Math, hold his hand. Let him go on the same time. That's it. Come on, George. Doesn't want to go on it? George, there with Matthew.
Go on, George.
Stand on the stone with Matthew.
You just like to throw stones. I want to throw
The sand in between his toes.
I can't go over there.
Waiting. This is probably the only place, a place like this where we can let him go, because when he gets to the car park there's still plenty of time before it gets near the road where I can get to him. He still runs off, but he does look back, look. So he's sort of waiting, but he won't just stop. So it's a bit of a challenge keeping up with him when he runs. What are you doing, George? It's wet. So what do? Take the socks off. At least they take the socks off. House! Very wet though.
Yeah. But we can stand. But it's all covered and slippery. But it's only all slippery, okay?
Georgie.
Technology, we found traces of it in the Paradise Mall. Precisely. And we believe that one of these shop owners is the master criminal. And that's where you come in. There's an excellent, you know how to
Pineapple? He likes pineapple. Yes, he likes it.
So, just a quick end to the vlog. I know today was a bit of a funny one, but obviously we wanted to catch a little bit of them in the dentist. We didn't really fully explain what happened when we were out, because obviously we were out. Basically, when we got there, they were about 10 minutes late, roughly about 10 minutes late. Obviously, add on to that the 7 or 8 minutes we were already going in to make sure we were on time for the appointment. George really struggled when we got in there. It wasn't so much the dentist, he just wanted to go up to the 3rd floor of the old house that it's in, the dentist that it's in. Anyway, he really didn't cope with it. We did get him in the room, as I've shown on a tiny little clip. We've only put a tiny little clip just to show the contrast between how Matthew's coping with things and able to cope with things better than George, because he understands, mainly all to do because he understands autism and the social the communication aspect of it. Matthew understands what dentist is. We said to George he didn't have a clue what a dentist was. He had no idea what it was. So when you're dealing with that, it's difficult. Me and Amy had a real tough, I had a real tough morning. I was up with them today because it was my day off, so I got up with them. And they were really challenging even before we left the house. Then they were really challenging on the way out to, we seen us out of the Magpie Bridge, which is just like a little bit of, it's a bridge with a bit of open woodland and stuff like that where we let go in. So yeah, so the good thing is he's been referred, or he's going to be referred to a specialist dentist which deal with people with these types of needs. They did put us to that dentist in the first place because they said that they're experienced with it, but there was no way that that dentist was equipped to deal with me holding him down to be checked. He's never had his teeth checked before. I understand that would get better over time, but at the moment she wasn't prepared to, even when I said, look, I'm happy to hold him just so you can have him checked just initially, so we can, you know, rule off that we can go worry about anything at the moment. This moment in time she didn't want to do that, so that was apparent that she wasn't comfortable dealing with children with George's issues, that complex issues. So Matthew's, yeah, autistic, but he's a lot higher function, he can deal with it, so he's learning to deal with it. Whether he's like that when he has a first tooth out or fill-in or something later on down the line remains to be seen, but we don't give him much sweets and stuff like that. They eat pretty much not many sweets, no fizzy drinks at all, so the only time they have anything which probably isn't good for their teeth is chocolate. Now, you know, they do have chocolate quite often, but I would have thought that's better for your teeth than fizzy drinks and horrible sweets and, you know, these types of fizzy type of sweets which they don't have. So anyway, so we had to go through that process with George. We knew it was a pointless process taking him. We knew that before when they suggested that we take him. Now they know it, now they're going to refer us, but I don't understand why these services can't take it from us. That is not a situation that he's going to deal with well, and just put us directly to the services. I know they have a process to follow, but it's just a complete waste of everyone's time. It's a waste of their time seeing him, it's a waste of our time dragging him there. It's also not for him having to be subjected to 2 big meltdowns for an appointment that we know he's not going to be able to fulfill, is what I'm trying to say. Things that need to be changed, you know, I don't understand why they can't, you know, certain, you know, under some, no kids like dentists. I don't want to go myself, but he is not in a position to understand it. He doesn't know what's happening. They should have trusted us just to take him to the specialist in the first place, but they won't. We have to go through this process, this rigmarole of jumping through hoops, or getting George to jump through hoops that he's not able to jump through yet, just to get the correct level of service or care for him, which is disappointing. But that's done. It's another thing ticked off we haven't got to worry about until they get their bums in gear and refer him to someone that's suitable. And that isn't a dig at the dentist, by the way, not at all. It's just the system is frustrating. I don't know what it's like elsewhere in the country. I don't know what it's like elsewhere in the world. I know we've got quite a few American subscribers and stuff like that. I'm presuming your dental service is privatised like your hospital service, so maybe you have to pay extra, or the specialist dentist with kids down as a disabled child, whether they get access for that for free. I've got no idea what it's like in other countries, but over here, certainly in England, it's frustrating the amount of hoops you got to jump through. But saying that, it's done now. I'm back to work tomorrow. I've got 2 more day shifts, 2 more night shifts, and then I'm off for 2 weeks, so I can give Amy a break. We can get some stuff done around the house. Have a week off with the boys before they go back to school, so that I'm looking forward to that. And then hopefully me and Amy can have a bit of time in my second week off to do some things together, which during the last 5 weeks have been impossible, obviously. So that's it for today's vlog. If you're new to the videos or new to our channel, subscribe, hit the little subscription button in the, it should be this corner, I think. Yeah, that corner there, and hit the little bell button so you get notifications when a new video pops up. Thanks for watching, supporting our channel, and we'll speak to you and see you all soon.